He was the man behind one of Wall Street's most remarkable comeback stories. Robert Bob Benmosche, known for his combative manner and colorful language, steered insurance giant AIG back from the brink in the wake of the U.S. financial crisis, paying back a massive $182.3 billion government bailout and even delivering a profit.
Bob Benmosche was a force of nature.
While he made enemies along the way, Benmosche's supporters and even some detractors say he was the right man for the thankless job. Benmosche was born in Brooklyn in 1944 and raised in the small Catskills town of Monticello. His father died when Benmosche was 10, leaving his mother and 3 other siblings with an unfinished motel and $250,000 of debt. Determined never to repeat history, making money and staying debt-free became a driving force for Benmosche. At New York's Alfred University, Benmosche studied math and played football, graduating in 1966, before serving 2 years as lieutenant in the U.S. Army Signal Corps. He kicked off his career as a consultant in the technology industry, then swiftly rose through the ranks at major Wall Street firms, Chase Manhattan, Payne Weber, and MetLife, where he became CEO. By 2009, Benmosche was 3 years into retirement, enjoying the fruits of his labor at his villa in Croatia when the phone calls about AIG started coming in. The trouble had begun months earlier when it reported the biggest quarterly loss in U.S. corporate history and posted almost $100 billion in net losses that year, all fueled by bad bets on toxic assets. The government was forced to swoop in. One of the calls was from investment banker Jim Milstein, Treasury's point man on restructuring. He was keen to recruit Benmosche, whom he described as the right combination of bull in the china shop and crazy like a fox, to help turn the ship around at AIG.
I thought if AIG failed, first and foremost, the insurance industry would never be the same. If America can't show that it could fix its business problems and do it the right way, I thought it would be bad for a meritocracy and capitalism.
So Benmosche took the reins. His goal was to pay back the loan, but he wasn't about to let regulators call the shots. From day one, Benmosche made headlines, taking a planned vacation shortly after he started.
Grandpa is in big trouble because he left his job to come on vacation after 2 weeks.
Challenging the virility of government officials and calling lawmakers crazies.
Bob, as you know, was a big bear of a man. I would say he was tough but fair, extremely principled.
His first order of business, take on critics seething over excessive pay packages at AIG.
This is a corporation that finds itself in financial distress due to recklessness and greed. How do they justify this outrage to the taxpayers who are keeping the company afloat?
Benmosche refused to back down.
It's the message you're sending. We're going to pay competitively for positions. I need to make sure that they have hope and opportunity, but they're going to be paid competitively.
Going to bat for the embattled workers fired them up, but rubbed just about everyone else the wrong way.
People were still being paid enormous bonuses across the industry at a time when they were taking trillions of dollars of government support, and the public and the Congress rightfully were upset about that. But as a manager, walking into a culture of compensation where this was the norm, it was a very difficult position to be in.
Adding insult to injury, Benmosche compared the uproar over executive bonuses to lynch mobs of the Deep South.
We are no longer too big to fail.
Many began to overlook his brash nature, though, as he made significant strides offloading bad investments, restoring confidence, and managing rocky relations with Washington.
I know the company I'm running, and I have confidence in this company, and I know what I'm talking about.
By the end of 2012, the federal government had sold off its 92% stake, pocketing a nearly $23 billion profit. Weeks later, the company launched an ad campaign to thank the American people.
Thank you, America.
But Benmosche was indignant that he never got a thank you from Uncle Sam.
I give a thumbs up to the regulators for getting the job done, but I give them a thumbs down for being afraid to tell the public.
Benmosche won the battle to save AIG, but he was losing an even bigger fight. In 2010, he was diagnosed with cancer and given only a year to live. While an aggressive experimental treatment bought him some extra years, it stopped working. And in June 2014, AIG announced Benmosche's stepped-up exit plan from the company, triggered when his cancer prognosis worsened.
One of the things I've learned in the life insurance business is that everybody dies.
Chairman Steve Miller described the leadership transition as switching generals after winning a war. The changing of the guard allowed him to turn his attention inward.
You have to focus on living. So when you think about your death, think about what you have accomplished. If there's things that are worrying you about the legacy you leave behind.
Bob was prepared to do the unpopular but right and fair thing in a really tough time for the country. That's the legacy.